Question number one. When you scan the options chain on a stock you're interested in, what is the first thing you actually look at before you put on a trade?
Expected move.
That's a good answer.
Expected somewhere between expected move or vol, one of the two. It just really varies, depends.
So I was going to say the premium around it. So if it's a very cheap stock, if I open up the option chain and you can see that just out of the monies you're getting 50 cents to 30 cents, close that thing right up. Because if I'm selling premium, I want to make sure you're getting paid. Just like you were talking about with Netflix a minute ago. But I changed my answer to expected move. Because I think you're right. It should be expected move.
Weird
My gut
consensus.
reaction would have been premium, but expected move first, then premium second.
Let's go to the next one.
On a Fed day like today, are you more focused on direction or are you mainly watching how implied volatility gets priced before and after the announcement?
Am I mainly focused on direction? I mean, I'm always focused on direction. I mean, Delta, definitely paying attention to that. I, I mean, usually heading into the meeting, I look at like we did today. We looked at implied volatility already, kind of got an idea for what is expected for today. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely focused on direction. Like the direction changes a lot of times on Fed Day. We'll see what we're doing right now, which is kind of trading flat, and then as we get closer to that announcement time, things start to move around a little bit. So I definitely have to pay attention to direction.
They do kind of percolate right when we get closer. It's pretty interesting though. I mean, and I'm not trying to downplay this because it is the first meeting and it is worse and all this stuff. But I think SpaceX was more important to me the last couple of days than this is, right? So we'll see the bonds move, we might see the oil move, we might see the metals move, but I don't expect a big move out of today because I think they're pricing in such a non-event. It's the ones where it's your 50-50 or anything goes where you're going to see some more big movements and things. I don't know though. I mean, I could be very surprised by what happens today, but that's my guess. I mean, like I said, I'll be watching more SpaceX options today than looking at the bonds and the gold and the metals. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the most interesting thing. Speaking of, it's trading 203, kind of off of its highs here, only up a buck and 40 now versus $8 earlier.
Has it gone red yet?
Has not gone red yet. Not so fast, Liz. Whoa, slow down.
I'm going to keep an eye on that. Just like when we were watching when it was opening, when it was trading that 175 price. I think we're going to see a red tick today in SpaceX.
Ooh,
One red tick.
ooh. Yeah, I know. We haven't yet, right? Yeah, put that in the
I'm talking
chat,
my book though.
Frankie.
I'm talking my
Actually,
book
put
though.
that in the chat. Put that in the chat, Frankie. Will SpaceX close green? Will it close positive or negative today? Put that in the
Oh, I
chat.
think it's going to
It's a good
close
poll.
positive because
That's a
hope
good. It's a good
hope
poll question, though. People
hope
love a
springs
good
eternal.
poll.
But I think we're going to have a red tick.
People
Yeah,
love
it
a
is a
good
good
poll.
poll question. It is
Let's
a
go
good
to
poll
the
question.
next. Let's do another question.
Okay. When options premiums are elevated around a major event, how do you decide whether the better trade is buying the move, selling the volatility, or staying out completely?
Hmm, that is a really good question.
This is a four-pronged question,
It
Jamal.
really is. It really is. Um,
Okay.
how do I decide? I mean, it varies. It really does. That's a great question, and it covers a lot of things. I mean, look, a lot of times if volatility is really high and it's a major name like a SpaceX or something like that, like SpaceX, say for example, which is going to be like that soon, but Apple, Microsoft, et cetera, so those type of earnings, I usually like playing those because they're very liquid names, and so I don't mind playing the volatility. I like to play if we're talking about earnings mostly here. I mean, there's not too many other events. We'll I guess we'll add on to this other events, but for now, let's just keep it at earnings. And I like playing those names on earnings because those are some of the bigger names in the market. And there's some of the more liquid stuff. Now, there's volatility around things like a WWDC, which we were talking about last week with Apple, where we can change it
Yeah.
out. I stayed away on that one. I actually didn't do anything, and then I got in after, which is how I got those call calendars that I have. How about you?
I mean, honestly, this question, like I said, it's a four-pronged answer. It's almost a personal question, right? So, it depends on the name. It depends on your personal feeling of it. Because sometimes I avoid earnings at all costs, and sometimes I was like, "Ooh, this looks great," and there's really no rhyme or reason to it. But 9 times out of 10, I'm using the options implied volatility to put on a smart trade in it, right? So I might have a directional assumption or something that I want to get into. I might wait until the earnings volatility is very juicy. Then, because I want to get into it, I'm going to use that high premium to sell puts. So, like I said, it's a personal question. There are some things on the show that I would do with Jenny I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, and she loved it, right? So it is a very personal. It's a very personal way to look at it.
Yeah.
So removing the emotion is the greatest way to do it. Like I said, cover it up and just let me make a trade. But
Yeah, I mean, it really does depend. Like, like MicroStrategies is one. I mean, this thing has had some high implied volatility, and most people probably aren't touching it. I'm interested in it just because I find it fascinating to trade names like this and try to play for a bounce when nobody loves them at all and nobody is interested. I kind of made a deal with myself a couple of years ago. I used to always kind of get in things a little bit early, and then it became, I want to wait until everybody is talking about it. And like whether it was you or other people in the network, I would hear if everybody is talking about that name, then I get more interested. And so like that's kind of how I've approached myself. I want to just wait until I hear more people talking about it or something in that name. That's what gets me a lot more interested. And regardless of the vol, it becomes a situation of I want to play it for that reason. Now I want to make a play and now I want to put on a position because clearly this is a name that's really interesting to everybody, and clearly the vol supports it as well.
I'm going to keep saying Marvell to you. Marvell, Marvell, Marvell. I want you to join my bullish stance. To the moon, Alice.
Oh, this is a perfect move. It's pulled back. This is great for my strangle, Liz. This is
Come
fantastic.
on.
Yeah, fantastic. We love this.
Never count a good Marvell out. Frank in the chat has a great story about Marvell, by the way.
I bet he does.
If anybody
does.
If anybody goes to a cocktail party with Frank, number one, try to punch him in the stomach. Number two, ask for his Marvell story.
Let's go to another slide. How many more slides we got?
I think we have one more.
Cool.
Okay, I heard Liz say her son puts on a daily 0 DTE SPX options trade. I do. He does. Could you walk us through the mechanics of that trade, how it's structured, when he enters, and what he's targeting, and how he manages it? This is
all right.
Easy
You're on, Liz.
peasy, lemon squeezy.
Let's
Okay,
go.
so if you go to SPX, Jamal, let's pull up the SPX trade. Now he knows, and it's funny because I can watch, and my account is linked to his, so I can see when he puts it on. I say, and he's got to set his alarm today because I know he's sleeping, but 9 o'clock our time, which is 30 minutes after the market opens. He has no idea what he's doing. He will open up the 0 DTE SPX, go to the expected move. No, just the put spread. So clear all this out.
So just the put spread?
Just the put spread, and go to the expected move down.
Yeah. So I'm right outside the expected move.
All he knows how to do, Jamal. So keep in mind, this is bad trading 101 or bad mothering 101, one of the two. He doesn't know what he's doing yet. He's going to get there eventually, but he knows to open it up on his phone, go to the brown bar. That's all he knows.
Mm-hmm.
You sell one right outside the brown bar and you buy the next one immediately. So he's usually getting around $1, 90 cents to $1. Is that true here?
Buy the next one immediately. What do you mean buy the next one? What's that?
So he's doing a $5 wide spread, exactly what you've got there. So he doesn't know what it is.
Got it.
He doesn't know what he's looking at. He knows he goes down, you sell at the brown bar, and you buy the one underneath. So sell one, buy one.
Gotcha.
He usually gets around 80 cents, 90 cents to $1.
Uh-huh.
And then he sells it, and I've been having him leave it because up until this point, the pattern day trading rule was something that he couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're working on going in there and having him close it at 50%, but he's been setting it up and leaving it, and it's been pretty decent because it's not a lot of risk. So I have him collecting about $1. So there have been days when it's a full loss, but then 4 days later, he's back. Right. So if you're doing it every day, and what I love about him, actually, particularly with this, is that he's very mechanical with it. So I'll open it up sometimes. I'm like, ooh, there's a Fed meeting today, or ooh, the SPUs are down too much, or they're up too much, or on the day where we were up 120,
mm-hmm.
I watched it go through, and I was like, ooh, what are you doing? We're up so much already. Why would you put in a put spread? But the mechanicalness of not having the knowledge that we have has been very helpful to him.
Baby.
Yeah,
so that's it. He that's all he does. It's a $5 wide put spread wrapped around at the expected move for the cycle around about $1. And I'm going to teach my daughter the exact same thing.
Go outside.
Well, I like doing the I'm going to do the iron condor on this. I'm trying to sell it right now for 2. Let's see if I can get that.
Now can you hear Tim?
Yes.
No,
yeah. You want me on? You're going to get this. Yep.
Yeah, I think we should probably bring him in. But all the research says wait until 9 o'clock. When Jacob was on before, when he's done research after research after research, around 9 o'clock is the sweet spot, give or take 5 minutes for trading SPX. So this is right in that wheelhouse.
Well, this is right now.